Welcome everybody back here at Veil of Sound in the year of the comebacks, and I will talk with my guest also about that because he and his band have not surprised us once but twice this year. So I'm very, very happy to have Nate Newton from Converge here on the show. Nate, thanks for joining once again after 4.5 years, I think, with our last talk.
Oh, well, thank you for having me back. It's good to be here.
Always. Nate, I've already explained how it always works. The first thing is the plug of the day. As you already said that you have a band that you want to plug right away, I'll let you go first.
Let's. I mean, I could give you a ton, but let's just we'll go with Stress Positions because I'm wearing their shirt right now.
Yes, very good. Definitely a very, very good. Not completely new, but still very, very under the radar kind of hardcore punk band, I would say. Yeah, and I also, of course, want to plug something. I'll go to the west coast of the US and I'll want to plug Guilt from LA. Really good anarchist, or at least, very anti-mainstream hardcore, I would say.
Yeah, their new record's really good.
Yeah.
I like it. There have been a number of new hardcore records lately that I've been really, really enjoying. There seems like hardcore is having a bit of a renaissance right now on multiple levels.
Yeah, and I also think it's not any kind of miracle because bad times produce hard-hitting, angry music.
That is true.
Yeah. Nate, before we talk about all the comebacks and about the new record, I have to ask, do you like April Fool's pranks?
I do.
So was it a coincidence that I think it was 2 days before April Fool's, you announced the second album of this year, Hum of Hurt?
I don't think we thought about it. I think that we were like, oh, we should have maybe taken that into consideration. But at the same time, it was funny, so who cares?
Because you do know that a lot of people immediately thought, okay, that is a too early April Fool's.
Oh, yeah, people definitely thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
Maybe it is a joke. Maybe you'll hear it and you go, oh, wow, okay, that was a joke.
Okay, so you'll do an Old Man Gloom and send out a promo and then release something totally different. Okay.
Okay. That would require a lot of work.
Well, speaking about work, the new record follows Love Is Not Enough, which was released only a couple of months ago. Did you, first of all, write it at the same time?
Yes, we did.
How hard was it to clearly see which song would go on which record?
It was pretty difficult. If you ask any of us, you're going to get a different answer. Everybody had some pretty strong opinions about what songs went together and what songs did not, and conceptually and sonically what fit together. I decided to sort of take a step back from it and say, I'm going to let you guys fight it out. And then when you come up with, basically I said, come up with the two ideas that you guys like the most, and I'll pick the one I like. And that's what I did.
Then that question, I hope you don't mind. You now released 20 plus new songs within a matter of half a year, not even half a year. Were there any tracks that you wrote and recorded that have not made it on either album?
I don't think any finished tracks. There were a number of tracks that we kind of abandoned. We were like, this one's it's not happening right now, or just didn't feel like we were getting what we wanted out of it, so we kind of just let them be. And we do that a lot. There are, on any given album of ours, there are ideas that have existed for years that we set aside and came back to.
And then, the question, I hope you don't mind, must be, are we talking about companion pieces, or do you want to see each record as an individual thing?
I wouldn't call them companion pieces. It's not like a continual concept through both records.
It's not Use Your Illusion.
No. I mean, they have pretty different personalities musically. Love Is Not Enough is, pretty clearly just a ripping metal influenced hardcore record. I would say Hum of Hurt is, for lack of a better word, the weirder of the two.
One that also crosses my mind whenever I listen to it.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like Converge still, but Converge at this point has multiple different personalities. So I would say that the two records are indicative of our two most prominent personalities, I suppose. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it. Honestly, we had a lot of songs, and so we were like, well, we should release them. But it seems like an hour-long hardcore album is,
too much?
A little too much. Yeah. A little too hard to digest. Most of my favorite records, or at least in the punk and hardcore realm, are short, and so and again, there are two kind of different musical personalities going on between the two albums, so we kind of decided to just split them up and see what happens.
I think there is something really important about it, because both records, as you've already said, whenever I listen to Love Is Not Enough, I have a feeling as if it's your metal record. It's very punchy, a lot of chunky riffs, very straightforward. And when listening to Hum of Hurt, I always have the feeling, okay, this is the more hardcore side of Converge, but still dipping into a lot of other territories. We have a track which is completely weird, and it was already so. And for example, we have 6th track. What is it? I forgot the name. Sorry. It Used to Matter? No, not you. It's not you.
Oh, It's Not Up to Us, maybe?
Yeah, sorry, It's Not Up to Us.
Yeah.
Then you have something that you've already released a couple of years ago, I Won't Let You Go. Mm-hmm. And then there are also some moments where it sounds very post-punkish in a way.
Yeah.
And that is something that I think is now, could we say that this is now the state of Converge? It is rooted in metal, it is rooted in hardcore, but it can be everything else in between. And also along very many different roads.
Yeah, I'd say that's fairly accurate. I mean, we've been a band for a long time. We have a lot of influences. We're all just fans of music. And, I think we're always just trying to find, the through line to the same sort of energy. Mm-hmm. But, we have such wide and varying tastes that, the way you get to that energy isn't always the same. We just like trying different stuff. I'm not quite sure how to explain it.
Totally fine.
One of the things I remember a few years ago when we were starting to write stuff, talking to Jake, and I went through a heavy phase of just revisiting No Means No records, and
which is never a bad thing.
Oh, absolutely. But definitely, I think that comes through on Hum of Hurt. I think with that in mind, especially if you go back and listen, I think you're going to hear that there's an influence there.
Yeah. But at the same time, there are also, again, probably 5, 6 more differences that are audible on the record that are again, completely different. And that is also something that I like about Hum of Bird. It is a very, in a way, a very statement piece. It is, okay, this is what we are. It's not who we were 30 years ago. Take it or leave it. Do you think that that is also a good thing, that your fan base has now grown to you dipping your toes into a lot of other ponds?
I think so. I think we've kind of set a precedent over the years for ourselves and for our audience to just say, you know, we're not really interested in pandering or giving you what you want. We're interested in doing what we want and, you know, bringing you on the journey with us. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but there's never been a point where I've put out a record with Converge that I've regretted. You know, it's always been like, this is, that's where we were at that moment. And I'm happy with the way we documented it.
And that, at least to me, is one of the most important things, you know, when you're a musician and then look back on your body of work a couple of years later, that you can still say, okay, there has never been a point in all of our life as a band where I regret doing A, B, C.
Yeah,
that's definitely.
I mean, there might be a few things here or there, you know, little things like, maybe we didn't need to go on that tour. Maybe we should have stayed home and, you know, fixed our houses. Like, you know, that kind of stuff.
I know,
but
record-wise, right?
Yeah, as far as our musical output, I stand by all of it.
Something that also comes up when listening to it, and I think here we have to explain the thing about the hum a little bit. Looking at the cover is one of the, for lack of a better word, easiest, clearest on Converge records. Yeah, very sparse.
Yeah.
I figure it depicts the hum, doesn't it?
It does, yes.
Do you want to tell our audience what the hum is before I do? I think you're much more of an expert on it than I am.
Honestly, that is more of a Jake concept, and I just said, I like it. Go for it. Do your thing.
You do know what it is, right?
Yeah, I do, but I feel that you could probably explain it better than me.
Well, what I have read up on is that it is something that not all people, but several people can hear, that it's a certain sound, a hum, somewhere between 30 and 40 hertz, that has been heard in many, many different places all around the world, by different people, but also by people going from, let's say, Massachusetts to, I don't know, London or somewhere else, and all of a sudden they hear the same noise or the same sound that they heard somewhere else, totally different corner of the world. And so this hum seems to also have had a consequence on people, in the sense of it drove them crazy or drove them mad, because you always hear something that nobody else hears or that not a lot of people hear. So the question must be, do you yourself hear the hum?
I think I do. I do. At this point, I have so much hearing damage. I don't know if it's tinnitus. I don't know if it's the hum. I don't know what it is anymore. It's not something that drives me crazy, though. I don't know. My temperament has always just been like, oh, that's what's happening now. That's how it is. Okay, let's keep going. Let's learn how to live with this and keep moving.
And I know that then Jake tried to take it to another level by saying, well, maybe this hum that some people are hearing and others aren't, is the sound of all the tortured souls and all the pain that has been going on or is going on in the world. Do you feel as if we are at a point in time where there is just too much nearly unbearable pain out in the world?
Yes, I do. I have mixed feelings on it because I think that I think for as long as I've been alive, it's always been like that.
Okay.
I do think that right now, currently, we're living in a time when, you know, you can't avoid it now because it's, we have these things,
Yeah.
I'm on my phone right now. It's constantly being broadcast directly into our face as we scroll, and the human brain was not meant to process this much information.
Definitely true.
We could, even when I was young, before the internet and especially before social media and before smartphones, and we were just carrying around the, all of the world's knowledge in our pockets. You could be aware of what was going on. You'd read the news or watch the news, and then you had no choice but to go about your day.
Yeah.
And now, whether it's, the 24-hour news cycle or doom scrolling or what have you,
push news, push messages. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, you can't escape it. And so I do think that there's always been this much misery and pain and trauma in the world, but now there's nowhere to hide from it. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry.
No problem. And what I also think is that's something that you said. We cannot escape it. We are basically bombarded all the time with it, and at the same time, it also separates us so much.
It does,
and it inflicts even more pain on the world. Then the question is, how do you try to escape? Or like, okay, I'll allow myself 2 hours of no phone time a day or something like that. Do you try to escape that?
I do. I mean, a lot of different facets to that, but I stopped watching the news years ago, mostly because I personally feel like the beginning of all of this was the creation of the 24-hour news cycle, where people were, the idea was to just keep people watching as long as you could, just to generate ad revenue, and spending the same information over and over in different ways to make people paranoid or scared. And I feel that the same approach has been applied to social media. So I just turned off the news altogether. I read the news in the morning. Like I use, there's an app here called Ground News that is really helpful with sort of figuring out, media bias and getting kind of like a straight story about what's going on. That's very helpful. But I read the news. I'm like, okay, now I know what's going on. I can draw my own conclusions from this. I'm turning it off now. And honestly, for me, I think what's the most important thing is just to remind myself, I'm here. I'm alive. I don't have that much time in the grand scheme of things. So, there's a window. There's the world out there. It's time to go live. And, I feel that because of all the negativity and trauma and pain in the world. It's, I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase this. When we have the opportunity to go out and live our lives and find joy, when, without all of that pain and trauma, then you're doing a grave disservice to the people who cannot do that, who would give anything to be in your position.
Yeah.
And you're just sitting in your house looking at your phone, getting angry and leaving comments on things when, someone across the world in a war zone would give anything to be able to go outside and, work in your garden right then and there, or go walk on the beach. Go do it, because they envy you right now, and it's disrespectful to them if you're not living your life.
Yeah, because we very often do not realize in what huge advantage and privileged position we are living in. That's true.
Absolutely.
True. Trying to take that thought back to music, how do you then feel about people who more or less try to record your concerts and always are like, we both know that there is a difference between taking a photo and actively trying to record a concert.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about it. I mean, I'm glad the people are at the shows no matter what.
Yeah.
And far be it from me to tell someone else how to enjoy their time. But, you're here right now in this moment, and you're looking through a screen at this moment that you're living right now.
Yeah.
And that is just so strange to me. Like one song, okay, sure. But I don't know. There's something about the spontaneity of hardcore and punk that has been lost a little bit because of, this culture of influencers and social media where everyone thinks they're an influencer now. And I'm like, that's cool that you want to, relive this show sometime maybe, but maybe put your phone down and live in the moment with all these people in the room right now.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. We're lucky that we're able to do it. And thank you for wanting to document it, but not everything needs to be documented at all times.
Yeah. And I mean, we both grew up at a time when we also actively listened more. I still remember song announcements from concerts 30 years ago, as if it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that still holds true for generation. I have to record all of this, or for people. It's not even a generational thing. It is an attitude thing. And I also think that you would, if you try to record a whole concert, which too many people do, I think just what you said, you really lack some part of the experience. And you've talked about privilege, and I think we can even connect it to that. We are really privileged. And I mean, also, we are really privileged to have Converge give us 2 records in a year. So that is a privilege for us.
So we're privileged to be able to make them.
See? So we all share something. But at the same time, there is this idea of, okay, we can enjoy this. For us, it's some kind of win-win situation. But there are a lot of situations, and that is also something that the record, I think, in a way, tries to tell us, especially, for example, a song like Dream Debris, where it feels as if, okay, I can win because somebody else loses. Is that something that you, with this record, also try to show, that we, as the privileged part of the world, should care, once again, care more about this underprivileged?
I don't know if that was necessarily a concept of the record, but I mean, I do believe that. I believe that we should care. Not to sound like a hippie, but we should care about every human being on Earth, and this idea that some people are deserving of care and pity and respect and others are not, based on arbitrary reasons like borders or religion or ethnicity or what have you. I just, it's not a thing that I'm really able to fathom. I can't wrap my head around it. I've never been able to wrap my head around it. And so all I can do is try to, set an example of how to be a good human being, and try and, as a parent, try to, create and guide a young human being into being a kind and loving person. And, I'm trying to bring this back to now. Like, I think that is one of the things that's so important about art and music, is that we have this ability to bring people together, just simply by doing something that we love doing and letting the world see that we love what we do. And yeah, I think so. Maybe in that way, it's kind of a concept of the record, and like by just simply being who you are and making art and music that you love, you're helping to bring people together in some way.
Let's go back to the record and also to the to your performance, because I had the feeling that you, as the bass player, part of the rhythm section, it felt to me as if you had a little more to do on Hum a Third than on Love Is Not Enough. Is that just my perception, or is there a little more oomph?
Do you mean in the songwriting?
Yeah, in the songwriting, in the way that many songs on Hum a Third are just faster and crazier in some parts. So that was my feeling, as if you and Ben had a lot to do on this record.
I would say on both albums, it's kind of it's always pretty much a four-way group effort. I could go through both records and say, oh, that was one of my riffs, that was one of Kurt's riffs, or that was based off of one of Ben's drum ideas, but it's always very, very collaborative. I think, like, I don't know, I don't think I would necessarily ascribe any particular amount of responsibility to myself and Ben, more so on the new record than on the previous.
I also wasn't thinking about songwriting. I was just thinking about, for example, if we take the first track, Slip the News.
Yes.
It starts with Ben doing this furious cannon blast.
That's a good drum. That's a good fill, right?
Yeah, that is a very also memorable fill, because and I had the feeling as if you two are pumping a lot of power into, for example, Slip the News. Not to say that Kurt isn't doing it as well, not as just saying as if Jake is doing a pop harmonica on it. But you know what I mean? It's a very, very driven song, for example.
Yeah.
And I was thinking in that sense that you have some job to do on that record.
I guess. I mean, we're a 4-piece. There's only one guitar.
Yeah, he has to do something.
Yeah, but also I have to. I think part of it has to do with the history of the band. We used to be a 5-piece with 2 guitars. When we went down to a 4-piece, I had to figure out a way to kind of take up that space where a guitar was as well, but in a tasteful way. And I didn't always achieve that early on, and I think now we've just found our places. We kind of settled into where we fit within the band sonically.
That's true.
It's never, there was never like a conscious decision like, okay, I'm going to really, I'm going to do so much on this song. It was
I'm going to go all Geddy Lee on this one.
Yeah, it was just that's what the song called for. And, that's the amount of space that needed to be filled.
Then let me ask, with the new record, you are also re-releasing a track that you've already released 6 years ago on the Cyberpunk.
Has it been 6 years? Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. And you are re-releasing I Won't Let You Go. Why?
Well, we re-recorded it, and it just felt a little more vital as a piece of music. And I don't know, when you just release a single and it's just a single that sits on its own, to me, that feels like a throwaway. And I know that the way people consume music has changed greatly over the past 10 years. There are many bands who only release singles now.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I am very much a student of the album, and I want every piece to fit into a whole. And so, when we were writing and recording, we all wanted to re-record that song. I don't know if we initially planned for it to be on an album or maybe be a bonus track or something, but then when the idea of making 2 albums became a reality, then it just made sense. You could see what material it fit with, and it felt like it fit right into place, and that it helped tie an album together. Yeah, I guess I hope that makes sense.
It does. It does. I have one more question before we come to the quick fire round at the end.
Sure.
Something that Jake said and that I found very remarkable. He said about the new record and also about his position as a musician in general, that there are certain shackles and obligations to your profession. And he said that he loves being part of a band. He loves being part of a scene. He loves all the positive energy that he gets from it. But at the same time, we have to be clear, there is not much space and time to do anything else apart from being a musician or anything that is related to music in his position, also being a visual artist and all of that. Do you also see that being part of a band that is this big also puts some shackles on you?
I can understand his point. and I think there is some truth to it, but it's not how I feel. Personally, it's what I love doing. It's this brings me joy. I would be doing this still if I was, if this band was playing to 10 people a night and, I was working in a factory, I would still be making this music because it's just simply what I love to do. That being said, I feel pretty creatively fulfilled, and I'm lucky. I'm in a position where, in addition to Converge, I'm playing in Old Man Gloom with my friends, and I literally just got back from a short Old Man Gloom tour 36 hours ago. I'm playing in Cave In. I don't feel shackled by it because it's what I want to be doing. I can understand the ways in which it can affect our personal lives. We're all parents. Sometimes that can be, doing this can make, having a family more difficult than it needs to be. But every family has their struggles, and we just figure them out and keep going. So I don't feel any negativity about any of it. I feel just incredibly lucky, and on multiple levels, not just the creative side of it or finding fulfillment. I'm 50 years old.
Yeah, but you only look like 45, so don't put the weight thing.
Well, if I shave, it's 43.
Yeah, that's the same with me. If I shave, I look like 38, and my wife doesn't like me anymore.
But I know, quite a few people who are not in this musical world, and like just people that I know from being a parent and knowing other families, and I'm constantly reminded, because of this music and what we do, that I'm lucky because most people don't have friends the way that we get to have friends. I'm like these guys and these other people in the bands I play with, that they're not just like some guy that I see every now and then. And
they are not colleagues.
No, they're family, and we're tight, and there is love there. And we have friends like that all over the world, like at any given moment, wherever I am, I can be like, oh, so-and-so lives here. Send a text. What's up? Let's go get some coffee or something. We have this privilege of being able to forge these really beautiful, long-term, deep friendships with people just because we like these same stupid records,
Yeah, that's true.
So it's really beautiful.
One last thing. But nevertheless, there is something strange about it. I guess that your calendar, personally, not only because of Converge, but also because of the other project that you mentioned, but your calendar itself is pretty full. Do you have an idea at the moment? What is the thing that is furthest away from this April 28th, when we are recording this, that you already put in your calendar? Do you already have dates for 2027 in there, or 2028, 29? I don't know.
27, yes. And working on more well into 2020. Actually, I would say through December of 2027.
Wow.
Already.
See? So, like it takes up time. But as you said, yeah, and I think that is the important thing. No regrets. Right? Nate, thanks for all the insights. But nobody leaves a Veil of Sound interview without having to go for the quick fire round at the end. You get two alternatives and you have to choose. Okay. I'll always give you something music related. You've been a part of several Black Flag cover projects. So I'll give you two Black Flag songs to choose. And I think you didn't record either of them. Nervous Breakdown or Damaged?
Damaged.
That was a quick one.
Yeah.
You've been on, as far as I remember, two The Ocean records, on Aeolian and on Precambrian. Which one do you like more?
Oh.
For me, that's easy.
So one of them, when I recorded my vocals, I can't remember which one it was. I think it was the first one. I was on tour in Berlin, and I was kind of sick, and I had lost my voice. And Robin was like, "Hey, I'm going to come down and pick you up to do the vocals." And I was like, "My voice is gone." But let's do it. He was like, "No, let's still do it." And I said, "Okay." And so I went into the studio, and my voice is just shot. And I think you can hear it. So that, which record was it?
If it was the first one, then it's Aeolian.
Okay. So that one is not the one that I would pick.
So then you would choose Precambrian, which yes. I would always choose. It's still, after, nearly 20 years, still my favorite The Ocean record.
Yeah, I was really not happy with my performance, and I don't think he was either.
There is also a connection between you and Boris. I think you've covered the band with one of the projects. Or no, there was a split that you did with one of the bands. And Boris.
Doom Riders did a split, and we toured
Doom
with
Riders. Them. Yeah. And then the question must be, which Boris record do you prefer? Pink or Absolute Ego?
I'm going to go Absolute Ego, but if I have to pick one, if I were picking one myself, it would be Flood.
The one that I gave you, Pink. I was thinking about Flood because they played Pink and Flood both at Roadburn this year. So okay,
did they? That's cool.
Yeah, they did. They did play Pink on Saturday and Flood on Sunday.
Oh man, I would have loved to have seen Flood live.
I couldn't. I had to drive back home for school. So.
Well, that's how it goes.
Yeah, that's how it goes. There is also the connection between you and Full of Hell, because you were on one of their records, Trumpeting Ecstasy. But I give you two other records, Weeping Choir and Coagulated Bliss.
I guess Coagulated Bliss?
The last one, yeah?
Yeah. I don't... That's a tough one. I don't really know. Let's be real. It's all just one record that just keeps going.
Unless they do a split. I remember the split that they did a couple of years ago with Nothing.
That was really interesting.
And that turned into something very different. We talked about the Cyberpunk soundtrack 6 years ago. I'll give you two artists that performed on that soundtrack, and you tell me which artist you would rather listen to after this interview. Health or Run the Jewels?
Ooh. That depends on mood completely.
Yeah, that's why I say after this interview.
Basically
the mood that you're in right now.
Run the Jewels today.
Yeah.
It's sunny out. I just want to. I want to
nod
groove.
Your head. I can understand that. You've also, with two bands, I think, released a BBC session with Converge and with Cave In. Which one, and you don't have to give the reason why, but which one stuck in your head more? Which one was more memorable?
Cave In. I mean, that's also closer to my memory, but
Okay.
yeah, I would say Cave In. It was a funner experience. Like the Converge one was a little more stressful. I remember it was, and the circumstances surrounding it, getting there and getting out. It was like in and out and very stressful.
Last thing, and we've already hinted at it. So 2026 is the year of a comeback. So we have Sun coming out with a new record after a longer time. We had you guys releasing 2 new records, and we had Neurosis releasing a new record. If you had to choose the new Sun record versus the new Neurosis record, which one do you, for personal reasons,
Neurosis.
prefer?
Neurosis, 100%. There is an emotional connection to Neurosis that no other band has, or that I have with them, that I don't have with any other band, for many, many reasons, musically, interpersonally. They mean a lot to Converge. They've done so much for us. They're friends and people who we love. Now with Aaron being a part of the band, it brings it even more into the family. So,
yeah, I just wanted to say it's even closer now, right?
Yeah. So yeah, Neurosis. Seeing them return, it really filled me with great joy.
Yeah, definitely. And I still say that that is one of those things where in 20 years, if you ever ask me, where were you when you heard that Neurosis came back or is back, I would still remember to this day.
Same. Yeah.
Nate, thanks for all your time. Thanks for the 2 records. And we all know that we would love to see you on European stages sooner than later. And I, of course, being a little biased, I would say I would love to see you on Roadburn stages sooner than later. I know it will happen at some point in the future. But first of all, thanks for music.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Roadburn is my favorite festival in the world. So, I always want to be at Roadburn. So
that's the note that we should end on.
There you go.
So enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.
You too, man. Take care.
You too. Bye.